What's up, GitLab and Docker people? So today I'm back with another brand new video of our GitLab series. This is a very interesting topic to talk about. So in this video, we'll be talking about GitLab CI/CD pipeline. So mainly we'll be covering two things. So one of the things that we're gonna do is that we are going to build Docker images by the GitLab CI pipeline, and we're gonna push the particular image to GitLab Container Registry. This video is highly interlinked one of our previous video, which was about GitLab Container Registry, right? So on that video, we actually showed you how to write a Dockerfile, build an image out of the Dockerfile, and push that image to GitLab Container Registry. So today we are gonna do the same thing, but instead of doing it manually, we are going to do it all via the GitLab pipeline. So everything is kind of like automated. So whenever you push, you make changes and you push, and this will automatically build the Docker images on your behalf. So we do not have to do any more manual interaction. So in this video, I will walk you through with examples. So first of all, let me create a new branch. By the way, if you are new to the channel and if you are interested in DevOps and cloud related content, you could subscribe to our channel so that you get notified before everyone else when I upload new video. In this video, I will explain each and every line that I write in YAML file so that you understand the concept. So in the previous video, we had a Dockerfile, right? So now we're gonna create a Dockerfile in this branch, and we're gonna copy the content from the previous video as you see on the screen. If you are new to Dockerfile, you do not have much knowledge, so this is the video I would recommend to watch, because here I explain how to write a Dockerfile, build image, right? So you're gonna watch the video and then you come back to this video. So what we did in the previous video, we pushed this image Apache web server out of the Docker image, right, that we have built. So what we're gonna do here, we will write a Dockerfile, and along with that we'll write index.html. So we are set to write our GitLab YAML file once we have prepared our Dockerfile and index.html file. So here I'm just showing you what we have done previously. So I'm just copying the content and pasting it here in index.html file. All right. So we have Dockerfile, we have index.html file. Now we need to start with gitlab-ci.yml file. First of all, we will start off pulling a Docker image from GitHub. In one of our previous GitLab CI/CD pipeline video, I already explained this section, pretty much line number 1 to 4. So default keyword means, in this case, I'm kind of like repeating this again. So default keyword means I'm telling GitLab, hey, pull Docker image, which is Docker stable image with the tag stable. Pull this image and run my pipeline using this image. All my jobs basically should be using this image. As you can see, I'm using the tag Mac because that's what we have configured in one of our previous video when we install the private runner. So we are going to run this particular pipeline jobs on that particular machine. So basically this Mac tag is used on my personal working computer, right? So that's where the job will be running when we push our changes to GitLab repository. So we are going to use some variables in our pipeline, and in this video I'm going to show you different ways using variables in GitLab. There are many ways to do it, and I'm gonna kind of like show you in this video how to do it. So our container registry URL is registry.gitlab.com, right? So that's the URL. So we can actually, for this particular URL, we could use predefined variables, or we could declare our own variables here, or we could declare variables on the group level or on the project level. So there are at least 4 different ways defining these particular variables. So if you look at the groups, you can see our group is YouTube, and then the project name is GitLab tutorial, right? So here, if you look at the URL, that's how the URL is composed of, or consist of, whatever you say it. So in the variable section, I'm going to show you how you could use predefined variables, right? Predefined variables in GitLab. So if you use predefined variables, you do not have to define your own variables in the project section. So I will take you to the GitLab predefined variables. This is the official link. So if you click on there, you can search for CI_registry. So in this page, you can just press Ctrl F or Command F and search for any particular predefined variable that you are after. So CI_registry is actually the address of the GitLab container registry. It's only available if the container registry is enabled. So in our case, in our project, container registry is enabled, right? Because we have pushed the images before. So instead of defining our own variable, we could directly use this predefined variable as I'm using here. This is one way. If you use predefined variable, you could also declare it like this. So I call it container registry, and you could paste the container registry URL right within the double quotation. So registry.gitlab.com. This is the option number 2. So option number 3. So here you need to use the $, right? So to declare a variable, you need to, this is the syntax for a variable. So you need to use the $, and right after you need to put the name. So let's delete this one. So I'm not going to use this one, I just showed you. So another way you could do also from the project level. So if you follow me along in the video, you could write the name of the variable and you can put the value of the variable, right? So in our case, registry.gitlab.com. You could also mask variable, but we are not going to use product variable because that is for the protected branches and tags. So in my case, I'm not going to use protected ones, rather I would just uncheck that option for the time being for this demo. So that's also another option. So you could just copy this value and use the $, right? And then put it there in the variable section. So this is number 3. The same way you could do also from the group level, which is what I didn't show you. But you could also do that. This is a similar process. You need to go to your groups and then you follow the same process the way I did for the project level. So we're gonna have 2 stages in this pipeline. So one is going to be build Docker image. The other one is going to be push Docker image. So build Docker image is responsible for building the Docker image. Push Docker image is responsible for pushing the Docker image. So I showed you in the previous video. As a side note, I would also like to pay your attention. So if you assign a variable in the group level, so all the projects under that group can inherit your variables once you have defined. So this is a good way of defining variables. For example, if you have some common variables that should be inherited to many projects, then you do not want to define on the project level, because project level only accessible on that particular project. So you cannot access project level defined variable from another project. So in build Docker image stage, we have a script. That script is basically to run some shell command, right? So in here we want to build the image, right? And for that image, when we build the image should have some particular tag, right? So in our case, if we do not define any tag, is going to be latest. We don't want it to be latest, rather we want to have some unique identifier. So in this case, we choose ci_commit_short_sha. So which will give you the commit hash. So it's going to be 8 characters. So in here, the commit hash is going to be the commit hash from your Docker push, right? When you push, you have a commit hash, right? So that commit hash is going to be the tag of your Docker image. I also wanted to show you how you could utilize CI-lint, that is kind of like built in with GitLab. So you just get your YAML file and paste it here and validate. So if you look at the value section, when on_success, so in this case it's a default one, so you do not have to define. Same goes with the only policies. Hold on, I'm not gonna create 2 jobs here. I will continue with 1 job because I just wanted to show you one thing here. Maybe this is very useful to you as well. So let's push, let's keep Docker push as well in the same job where we have build as well. So we are going to build and push on the same job. So we update the job name a bit, so build and push instead of build. So when we do the Docker push, what we have to do, we need to get the tag, right? So Docker repo and the tag that we have already defined in the previous line. So we're gonna copy and paste. We are good to push, right? So push command is ready. So in the only section, I want to mention that whenever I create a merge request, I want to do this. So this is going to be only applied to merge request. So only : reps : line you see on 21, they are actually the same thing. So you could omit reps if you want to, but I just wanted to show you there are two ways you could write it. So probably the latter option was more easy because you need to write less. All right. So we wanted to push, but we did not log in. So are we gonna be able to push Docker images without login to our registry? Absolutely not. I have shared you this stuff in the previous video. So what we want to do now, we want to utilize before script. This is what also we described in the previous video. So before script is going to be executed before we actually execute the script section on line number 17. So what we want to do before we execute line number 19 and 20, Docker build and Docker push, we want to actually log in. So in this case, if we want to log in, we need to pass some parameter, right? So we need to pass in the username. So here again, I'm going to use the predefined variables because these are the recommended variables you should be using. So I'm gonna pick up registry user and I'm gonna pick up also the password. Here I did not show you actually Docker auth config. That is something you would be using in real project instead of typing in your password, right? Password is not a good way of doing it, but since it's a demo, I just wanted to show you. If you are working in a production stuff, go with the Docker auth config variable. That is also a predefined variable. Excellent. Now we are kind of like ready with the login command. And in the CI registry password, if you read more, you can get a little bit more information. And if you're wondering when I type $ci_, that why does it give me those automated pops up, is because I have the plugin installed in VS Code. So if you're interested, it's very useful. You could also install it and use it. So let's add our changes to GitLab index. So status actually is an alias, so it means git status. Instead, I'm writing status because I use alias for it. So give it a commit message, and then we are ready to push, right? So this is the first time we are going to push our changes to GitLab project in our repository. So when we push it, our idea now is to create a merge request, because in our jobs, we talked about merge request condition to run this pipeline, right? So now we have created a merge request. So now this should trigger the pipeline. And when we trigger this pipeline, it should do two things. One, build the image and then push the image. And in the script section, line number 18 and 19, that's what we talked about, right? And in the predefined variables, we have done the login and Docker info. Docker info is just to show you some information about a version I have installed on my Mac computer. So that is not required. This is just for demo purposes, but the login is required. As you can see the output, it seems like job is succeeded. We should be able to see our image. As you can see, we can see the image has been pushed just a minute ago, and it has the 8-character commit hash, right? So this is used as a tag. If you merge these changes, this merge request to master would not actually build and push the images, because this condition is applied to merge request, so not for this particular branch like master branch. So now we are gonna make some changes. So we will create another stage, we call it push Docker image. My voice got a little bit broken, so I needed to drink some water. Now I will show you a little bit modified versions of this job. So we are going to create two jobs now instead of one. So Docker build will have on its own Docker build job, and Docker push will have its own Docker push job, right? So in the build image job, we will build Docker images, and this is going to be part of build Docker image stage. and push Docker image job is going to be part of push Docker image stage. And in this stage, we are going to add a condition, and condition is going to be only for master. Before we were doing for merge request, right? Instead, we will push the Docker image when we merge our changes into master. So before, what we did, we were actually building and pushing Docker images in the merge request. You do not want to push a Docker image, right, until it is in master. In the build stage, it will build the image where you will get the commit hash, right, for that particular image, and then you can test your image. But when it goes to master, we only want to push our Docker image. Let's look into this linting part again. So now if you look at there, once you click on validate, you will see a very nice overview. So Docker login actually goes before each job. As we talked about before, script should be executed before the main script, right? So in this case, main script is the Docker build in that particular job, right? So I'm going to show you after some time about when and only policies. So for the time being, you do not have to struggle about those particular thing that you see on the screen right now. So just remember, before script runs before a job is actually executed. So in this case, as we can see in the preview, we had two jobs, and before script were kind of like executed, or it will be executed before the actual job runs, right? So in the when section, I'm going to show you by default on success. So you do not have to mention it, meaning that if this Docker build command runs successfully, right, this is gonna move forward. Do not worry at all, because I will also paste you the links in the video description, so you can find all the links from there as well. So now what I'm gonna do, I will approve this merge request, right? So once we approve the merge request, pipeline will trigger. Pipeline has triggered, and now we will see that since we have the manual step, it means that the push Docker image is not going to be automatically triggered until we manually click there, right? So once we manually click, the job is going to be triggered. So let's go to the linting again. So I'm going to show you something about the before script. So as I said, YAML is kind of like ascending order. It goes line by line. The before script is not always true, because before script, if you put anywhere, let's say after push Docker image job, it's still going to be executed before a job is executed, as you can see here. So this is a very nice tool that you should be using in your daily job. Whenever you write some YAML stuff, always check it. So as we talked about, the build was automated, but push Docker image, it requires manual trigger, because we put the condition when manual. So this is why we need to trigger to run the pipeline. You could also delay this if you wanted to. There are a couple of options, right, that is in the documentation mentioned. So you can play around. Because of the time constraint, I cannot show you all of them in this video, because this is gonna be a really long video in this case. So I will try to skip this, but I just wanted to give you some heads up that there are such things that is existed and you could utilize in your pipeline. All right, nice. So we are going to switch to master now, because our change is already in our master branch. So I'm using aliases, so do not get confused. Master means git checkout master here. Gpull means git pull, because that's what I'm using as alias. Going to remove manual option that I had in the Docker push, and after that I'm going to push. I'm not going to create a merge request because it will slow down the process, so I will refactor a bit. So let's remove when manual. So we are not gonna trigger the pipeline manually. All right, so I'm gonna add my changes to git index, and I'm gonna put a commit message, and after that we are going to push to our master branch. So now we are pushing to our master branch, so it should automatically trigger the build job and then the push job as well. So build job has taken kind of like 10 or 13 seconds, so it's been done. So now push job is already done, right? So So what has happened here? So when we pushed our changes to master, it has triggered the build job, and after that it has triggered the push job. So push job only happens in master branch, as we have seen before. It doesn't happen in the merge request or any other branch because we have the only condition, right? I hope you get the idea. This is really cool, right? So this is how you can utilize the power of GitLab in your CI/CD pipeline. So I hope that you found this video useful. If you find this video useful, do not forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. And in the next video, I will be bringing a lot more useful pipeline tricks. I'm currently also working on Docker videos. So I'll be also working on Docker best practices, Docker Compose in IntelliJ, and entry point versus CMD in Docker. After that, I'm gonna publish some videos on Google Cloud Platform. So if you find this video useful, stay tuned and see you in the next one.